Welcome back, TechVed viewers. The next step in our networking and personal branding journey is developing and displaying your work portfolio. You see, I'm at a step in my personal journey where I am developing my own work portfolio. It's in a couple of different spots right now: GitHub, Tableau Public, LinkedIn, and a couple of others. And I'm in the process of developing a single website to consolidate all of it and present to the public. So, I would urge you to seek out external assets, but I'm going to tell you what I know. Now, building an online portfolio containing work projects is the single biggest factor earning jobs for data professionals today. So it's important that you have one to set yourself apart. Now, you may ask, what should be in it? Well, work projects. Specific for the data industry, it should be the projects that answer business problems and deliver business value. Now, you might ask, where can I get these? If you already have a job and you're already doing projects, it can be quite a challenge to represent those in a work portfolio. Most companies have proprietary information or some kind of non-disclosure agreement that prevents you from taking the actual project, the code, the write-up, the presentation, and displaying it for public use, at least for a number of years. There's good reason for that. There's industrial espionage, there you can get business intelligence for your competitor companies. So sometimes the best you can do is kind of approximate that project, but there's plenty of other places to get good projects. There are courses out there that specialize in projects. There are public data sets you can access all over the place on topics that interest you. And if you take those data sets, find a problem that you can solve with it, and take that project from start to finish, this shows that you have knowledge and business value and that you can accomplish this in a work setting as well. You can use websites, you can use YouTube videos. There are a variety of content creators out there that specialize in recommending projects. Some of them can be guided, which is something you should be careful with because that can become a crutch for you. That can become something that you depend upon. But you should endeavor to find data sets of your own, develop them, and develop solutions to problems, visualizations, take it really from start to finish. The other thing you want to consider is you want to make sure that your projects are digestible to lay people that don't share your technical expertise. If you're a data scientist, a data analyst, an engineer, you're some sort of coding expert, the hiring manager for your next job or the recruiter likely doesn't have the same expertise that you do. So you want to make sure that you're very good at documenting your code or your procedures, that you're including a README file or a bottom line up front or something that speaks to non-technical experts explaining exactly what you did in your project. Now, we get to the point of where do you put your portfolio? Well, there are a ton of different options. If you just want a website that you own and control, there are a variety of different places. Good ones are Wix, WordPress, and Google Sheets. Now, if you want premium options or if you want some customizability with those, maybe the free option isn't the best one for you, and they have various pricing plans where you can pay for a better website. But all of those have free options. If you have a lot of code projects, you may want to try putting your portfolio on Kaggle or GitHub Pages, which can take your code directly from GitHub and publish it. If, let's say, you have a blog, maybe Medium or LinkedIn itself are good options. There are some ownership issues when it comes to your work there. You can, again, use WordPress for a blog. And if you want to code it yourself, it's free. If you want some specialization options and someone else to do that work for you, you have to pay for that. The most important thing to remember with your portfolio is you need to be proud of your own work. You won't be denied a job because your work is incomplete, because you have a working copy of a code project on your portfolio. Things don't need to be perfect. Projects don't need to be job or presentation ready before you put it on a portfolio. Be proud of your work, display it for public digestion. I'd like to talk briefly about the ongoing process that we have here and start showing you how these first 4 stages fit together and feed into our upcoming 5th video. So we went over the profile first because that begins your online networking and branding process. You have to have something online, some sort of touch point or anchor point to be able to connect with people and start building that network. I personally improve my profile at least once a week and go over it to make sure everything in there is still accurate. Our second step is networking. Well, that follows because without connections, your content is going to fail to find an audience. But without that profile, you can't build a network. You should never stop networking and developing your audience and maintaining those relationships with your existing network, or they'll become stale. People will forget about you. Sometimes people leave the industry. You need to always be meeting new people and refreshing those touch points. Next, we came to content creation. Now that you had an audience, you can put content out there and it's going to resonate with them, hopefully. But you should never stop creating content, even after you move on to further steps. In fact, once you get to developing your online portfolio, that portfolio can and should feed into your content. And what you'll find is that people are so starved for that information that that will resonate very heavily, especially in tech, especially in the data industry. Those projects that you put on your work portfolio can feed some of your best content on LinkedIn. And those projects, when featured on LinkedIn, are going to drive hiring managers, recruiters, and the kind of eyeballs you need to your website to see your work. And now that we have a body of work, we establish that work portfolio in this step. This can be put in a variety of places. It doesn't have to include LinkedIn. But like I said, once you include LinkedIn in that mix, that is going to put your work portfolio on steroids, and people are going to go there and engage with it freely. Each of these steps are an ongoing iterative process. If you think of it as a graph, one does not end where the next one begins. They overlap, and they should be ongoing. Once you establish your profile, obviously it doesn't need as much work, but they all need maintenance and upkeep. All four of these steps feed into our next and final episode. We're going to tie all this together and start talking about strategic branding. See you then.